abortions are used as a vessel of honor. Now, he tells us in Ecclesiastes about the child that dies an untimely birth, that this child has rest, rather than the man who's lived a full life and never come to know the Lord. This child enters into the rest, but that man does not. Now, I want to say something about abortion. You brought this up. This is something pretty simple that the Bible says. You know, abortion is evil. It's wrong. But I want to ask you something. What would happen to these children if these same evil people raised them up? They would not come to know the Lord in almost every case. They would turn away, they would be in sin, and they would die. They would go to hell according to the Scriptures. Okay, now what happens to that child when this person who does this evil thing to them, puts them to death in the womb, or some kind of thing like that? What happens to that child? They go to heaven. You know, the Bible says the wrath of man shall praise thee.
All right.
Now, I'm not justifying abortion. Abortion is evil. It's wrong. Yeah. But let me tell you something. God has taken some babies out of this world to enter into rest, to have eternal peace. And if those same parents raised those children, they would not come to know the Lord. They would have eternal damnation.
But you are agreeing then that you know for a fact that some of your tax dollars in any extent or measure has gone to provide for abortion.
Yes, I agree with that, and I also agree that I'm not held guilty to that because God commanded us to pay the taxes. Okay. So, I mean, that's His responsibility, you know, to take care of them. He can take them out anytime He wants to.
Well, the same government that's doing that is also marrying homosexuals as well. So and we don't agree with that, of course. But it almost seem, and it does seem to be a little bit of picking and choosing there. Hey, just a quick question there though. Did any of these girls know each other?
Well, I don't know, but I don't think. Well, I know that T knows quite a few people in our assembly because she's a part of our online assembly, you know.
So
the other girl I don't think knows T, but she did not say anything like that.
And you say in all, because I think you, maybe it's just the biblical record, but did you not say everything needs to be established by at least 2 witnesses? How many witnesses are there that you know of?
Well, you know, you mean that Matthew is into fornication and into talking to girls this way? We have quite a few. In fact, I've recommended one guy to you, Vincent, Xavier.
David, when you say fornication, are you don't you really mean adultery?
No.
Seems like fornication might be a pass, given a pass. I mean, because you.
Well, let me explain fornication. What fornication is? Okay, fornication is translated from the Greek word porneia. And it Vine's Expository Dictionary says that this means any illicit sexual intercourse. Okay? In other words, fornication is the broad term that covers adultery, polygamy, homosexuality, bestiality, masturbation, etc., 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 etc. It's the broad term. The others are specifically talking about one form of fornication. Okay. The Bible says Balaam. Balaam was a prophet, by the way. Balaam was a good prophet. He never prophesied anything wrong. God didn't say he wasn't a prophet, but he had one problem. He taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit fornication. He was a prophet that was teaching the people to commit fornication. And so he split hell wide open for that.
Just another note. Didn't God seem to anoint or bless or raise up people that were really steeped in sin, as biblically described? Like,
did he anoint them?
Yeah, sort of like Paul, Moses, Solomon, David. I mean, all these guys, didn't they all have a really tainted past?
Well, it seems like after Moses came to the Lord, he didn't really have a tainted period. All of us have a tainted past if you talk about before coming to the Lord. And Paul, before coming to the Lord, he had a tainted past, but not after he came to the Lord.
But Moses did not obey the government of Pharaoh, did he?
Moses didn't obey the government. Well, Moses wasn't disobeying the government. He was bringing judgments upon the government. I mean, and that's exactly what's happening now and going to happen in the future. The prophets of the Lord are going to speak judgments that are going to come upon America. It's not that in their personal life they're rebelling against America, taking up arms against America, or doing things like that. It has to do with them bringing judgments from God upon America.
All right.
And that's what Moses did.
Okay. I think Matthew Stephen made a prophecy about an earthquake in June, which I don't believe happened. Are you familiar with that prophecy?
Well, we have a good friend, George Kirkpatrick, who happens to know Matthew pretty good because he helped him start his site. He's got a list of these dated prophecies, and that none of them have come to pass. Okay? Matthew's fame is coming out of his own mouth. Okay? He brags of having hundreds and hundreds of prophecies that have come to pass, but from what we're hearing from the witnesses, that's not the truth. And he stretches things very badly. Stretching is being kind. Okay?
By the way, did Peter obey the government when he smote the ear of the high priest?
When he did what?
When Peter smote the ear.
Oh, when he smote the ear.
Yeah, was he obeying the government at that point?
Well, you know, Jesus rebuked him, didn't he? He rebuked him, put the sword up into its place. If you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. And he put the man's ear back on.
Didn't he also say, though, that there's going to be a time when there will be those that need to take up the sword?
Well, he said when the disciples were coming back, he sent them out without any of their own supply, and they were coming back. And he said, "Did you lack anything?" They said, "No, Lord." Well, then he said something like, "Well, let him take the sword." And so Peter said, "Hey, here's one right here," you know. And he said, "Because it has to be fulfilled in me that which is spoken, he was numbered among the transgressors."
Okay. All right.
So,
David,
so what he was saying was is the people who took the sword were exactly what he said everywhere else. They were the transgressors. He said it in the text.
Okay. Okay. But isn't Jesus coming back to destroy the governments of the world?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're temporary.
Okay. By the way, for everyone to know, I contacted or attempted to contact Matthew Stephen and asked him if he would like to join us in a three-way conversation on tonight's program, and I did not receive a response. So that was given there. Matthew, what would you say? What would you say would remedy or bring? What do you see? What do you see for this whole thing? The end of it. What's the best possible outcome that can come from this?
Well, I think that Matthew could confess his sin and ask for forgiveness and ask some elders to pray over him so that he be delivered of this spirit of lust, of this spirit of lying, and of this thing that he did, for instance, to Pastor Bob in stealing his money. And these kinds of things. This man is immoral in many more ways than one. And we've got many more testimonies and many more coming at this time.
Okay.
Of people who have caught him in sin.
Now you said earlier that you didn't want to do this, but you feel like you're compelled to do this.
Well, I am, because I believe in discipleship. You know, we don't keep his commandments. Jesus said, "He it is that loveth me that keepeth my commandments." He commanded this. He didn't ask us. He didn't ask our opinion. You know, he just said, "This is what to do. If your brother sins, you go to him, you and him alone. If he hears you, you've gained your brother. If he doesn't, you take with you one or two more, that at the mouth of two or three witnesses every word may be established. If he doesn't hear them, bring